Good morning to you all, dear students. So we are on chapter 15, second part of that portion. Okay, so last class we have started with chapter 15. So this is in continuation of chapter 15. So in today's class, we'll be learning about fundamental rights, relationship of fundamental rights and judiciary, independence of the judiciary. So these are the three topics under which we will be discussing. So let's get started with the topic of fundamental rights first. So our aim to achieve for today is students will be able to explain the importance of fundamental rights and elaborate how independent judiciary function in a government. Okay, so these are the fundamental rights. All right, so we have learned about the fundamental rights, and these are nothing new for us. So our fundamental rights consist of six fundamental rights basically. So you'll find that the six fundamental rights of Indian citizens as declared in the Constitution of India are: point number one, right to equality. Point number two, right to freedom. Point number three, right against exploitation. Point number four, cultural and educational rights. Point number five, right to freedom of religion. Point number six, right to constitutional remedies. So initially, there were seven fundamental rights. All right, at first there were seven fundamental rights. Okay, but right to property was later converted into legal rights. That is by the 44th Amendment of the Constitution of 1978. So please remember this particular point. Okay, initially there were seven fundamental rights, but right to property was later on converted into legal rights by the 44th Amendment of the Constitution in 1978. So if we were to discuss the fundamental rights one after the other, all right. So first of all, let's learn what is actually the right to equality. All right, that is creating everyone equal in the eyes of law. Okay, not being partial. All right. Take the example, like since somebody is rich, right, they have more right, or somebody is poor, that they will have less right. There is no such case under right to equality. Means every citizens they have the right, okay, to get equal treatment in the eyes of the law. That has been framed in the Constitution of India. Okay, and basically point number two, right to freedom. I hope you all know the meaning of what is freedom, right? To do whatever things we like to do, and also to go wherever we want to go. Okay, this is a kind of freedom that is being guaranteed to the individual by the Indian government. Okay, and also it is declared under the rights of the Constitution of India. Point number three, right against exploitation. All right, whenever somebody try to exploit you, okay, or let me just give you an example of a child labor. All right, the child has under the age of 14 has been exploited, and then they are men forced to work in the factory or in the industry. That is against rights against exploitation. Okay, so if any case such cases occur, then they can claim the right, or citizens can claim the right, okay, under the fundamental rights. And point number four is cultural and educational rights. So basically it also links somewhere with exploitation. Let me just give you an example of how what is cultural and educational rights. India being a democratic country, we have the freedom or the liberty to follow any culture, tradition, religion, right? Specifically, even educational rights. Okay, so there is no any individuals that can deprive another individuals. Okay, for to take away the rights against educational right. So every citizens have right to go to school, right to learn, right to speech. Okay, so that is what it covers under cultural and educational rights. And point number five, right to freedom of religion. So see, India is a multicultural diversity, so there are lots of religion in India. Okay, okay, the major religion are like the Muslim, the Hindu, right? So even Christianity, there are Jainism, Buddhism. There are lots of religion that is prevailing in India. All right, so every religion we have freedom of religion. Okay, because of that very reason we have the freedom or the liberty to worship wherever we go, right? So whenever you go to Delhi, you will see a church. Whenever you come to Kohima or in any place of Nagaland, you will see that there are temples, there are mosques, right? So that includes right to freedom of religion. Point number C is right to constitutional remedies. All right. So when I say remedies, it is referring to something which is a kind of okay, a medicine. All right. So constitutional remedies basically referring to any if any individual or any group is violating these constitutional rights, which means individuals they can claim these constitutional rights in the court of law. Okay, so this is the simple definition or the meaning of what is fundamental rights. All right, so as citizens we have to know our basic rights. Okay, fundamental rights. So let's get back to relationship of fundamental rights and judiciary. So what are the difference or the relationship, all right, and how they are independent to each other? That is the fundamental rights and judiciary. This is how they are related. Okay, as shown in the above in the given diagram, right? In the given triangle. Okay, this is how they are dependent on one another. So they move in a circle way, right? The independent judiciary they move toward the sides, and then the independent judiciary, the rule of law, the fundamental right, the fair justice, public confidence in the judiciary, economic growth. Okay, they make plan and then they put into force. And on the other hand, abolishing arbitrary action of the executive, decreasing the crime. Okay, so in other words, they are coexistent and correlated. All right, that is the fundamental right and judiciary. So if we were to claim our rights at first, where do we claim our rights or where do we claim our fundamental right? Obviously we have to go to the court or we have to go to the court, right? We can go to the district court, we can go to the high court, and we can even go to the supreme court. Okay, that is the freedom that is given to us by the constitution. So if anything or if anyone try to violate these fundamental rights, we can sue against them or we can sue against the particular group that is going in the court of law. All right, that is how a fundamental rights and judiciary is related. So these are the independence of judiciary. Okay, so in other words, what are the power or the freedom that has been given to the judiciary? Okay, that is by the constitution or by the government of India. So remember, the judiciary of India is an independent body. Okay, they are independent. All right, they don't depend on any other system. Okay, since they are independent, and it is separate from legislative and executive bodies of the Indian government. So independent, in other words, it is separate. They are separate, okay, from legislative and executive bodies of the Indian government. And in other words, the legislative and executive, that is the central and the state government. Okay, legislative and executive cannot interfere in the work of judiciary. So since they are given the liberty or they have given the freedom, okay, to set up the independent form of government, so on the other hand, the legislative and the executive body of the government, they cannot interfere, okay, in the work of the judiciary. Okay, and also the court are not under the government and they do not act on their behalf. Okay, so in other words, if any cases occurs in any of the government department, take example of a government institution or a government or any company or any kind of government setup, okay, which means they also have to go to the court. All right, so the court are not under the government because they themselves, whenever the situation arises, they try to handle the situation. Okay, they try to figure out, all right, the problems even if it occurs in the government sector. Okay, so they do not act on their behalf since they are independent body. And also judges in the high court as well as supreme court are appointed with very little interference from the branches of the government. So they are independent body. So in other words, even the judge of the supreme high court as well as the supreme court, again, they are appointed with very little interference, that is from any of the government branches. It is also very difficult to remove a judge from his or her post. Suppose if a particular judge is appointed, right, it is very difficult to remove them, okay, once they are appointed. So in continuation, okay, independence of judiciary. You have to know the meaning. Okay, independence of judiciary means that the other organs of the government must not restrain the functioning of the judiciary in such a way that it is unable to do justice to the government. And also, other organs of the government should not interfere with its decision. Okay, that is what we have learned. And also, judges must be able to perform their function without fear or favoritism, right? Without the fear of any other party interference or without being favored to one particular group of society. Judges must be able to perform their function, okay, in truth way or in honesty, okay. So that's it for our discussion for today. Now things to do, okay. I want all of you to read the passage on child labor. That is from your textbook, page number 213 and 214, okay. And also answer the given question in your notebook. All right, so you read the passage on child labor from your textbook. You'll find in page number 213 and 214, and you please answer the given question into your notebook. That's it for our class for today. Thank you, take care, and stay safe, all of you.